We're back with our third video that is all about the various materials you'll be using in your preparation, especially for judges, but teams, again, helpful for you to keep all these things in mind. We're talking about two things in this video. The guide to asking judges questions. Teams, it might be helpful for you to be aware that this guide exists and is there for judges and for you to review it as well. The other thing we'll be looking at is Ethics Bowl etiquette, and this applies to all participants in the Ethics Bowl. And in addition to looking at that document, I'll say an additional word or two about etiquette in the virtual environment. So let's take a look at the guide to asking judges questions. This is primarily for new judges, but all judges can benefit from this. We've noticed over the years that new judges often find that the most challenging part of their experience is trying to decide what sort of a question to ask. And so it might be helpful to sort of keep some of these considerations in mind. Some of these might seem somewhat common sense, but trust me, it can be valuable to remember these. First and most importantly, you really need to familiarize yourself with the cases in advance of the competition. It's tempting to think that all you need to do is to sort of skim the cases so that you understand basically what they're about and then listen to the presentation. Teams spend over a month with these cases, thinking quite in depth about them. So it's really important that you try to take it as seriously. So look through the cases, take some notes. One thing that's always helpful is to maybe make a few notes about what you think some of the main ethical issues are in a particular case so that you'll have a sense of whether a team has done a good job or not as you go through this. Although it's important to keep in mind, sometimes you look at a case and you think that one of the most salient points about it is X, and a team does their analysis such that a different factor is what they're putting forth as the most salient point. You might find yourself surprised that, like, wow, I never thought about it that way. So you don't want to have too much of a preconceived notion about a case, but you do want to have thought about it. The next thing is that you want to listen carefully to a commentaries team in response to the initial presentations team. This is actually really important, and it's something that is helpful to keep in mind as a judge. What's very tempting as a judge is that you listen to the initial presentation and you start thinking about your questions. But what happens is that the commentary team might bring up issues that the initial team had not covered or challenges them on. So you might take that as something that you might want to follow up on. Another note I'll make here when it comes to judging the commentary team is that if a commentary team steals your judge's question, that's usually a sign of them doing something right. It is important, this is a little technical point, but you're only addressing questions to the original presenting team. But the reason to listen to the commentary team is that you might want to pick up on a point they raised and then move it forward a little bit. Another note, I mentioned this in the previous video, one easy thing you can do as a judge is you might challenge a team's view, even if you ultimately agree with their response. But one thing is just to try to engage them a little bit with arguments on the other side. And again, there's a note here, your score shouldn't be based on whether you agree with the team's view or not, but you might want to probe them to see how well they can handle objections to their view, besides those that have already been raised. Another thing you might do, and you might see this with very good presentations, you might, quote, change the case slightly. What I mean is that imagine a team has done a really good job. So you might say, okay, I think you did a great job, but hypothetically, let's imagine we change the following. How would that change your view? Right? That seems to be high end. I'm a bit of a Supreme Court nerd. I love listening to Supreme Court justice questions like this. You don't need to ask a question, but, and again, mentioned this earlier, definitely need to ask a question if you think a team did not do well. If you're new, feel free to yield a question to another judge, and then you may always come back if there's time left at the end if something comes up in your mind as you go on. And again, look at this guide to scoring for additional points to consider. I'll remind you here again, one thing to keep in mind is the idea that you might think that the tougher time a team had with their initial presentation, the easier type of question you might ask. Could you just clarify what your point is? I'm not sure that I was fully clear on your position, etc. And then if they did a good job, that's where you might get into pushing them, challenging them, things like that. So now I'm going to shift gears. We're going to look at Ethics Bowl etiquette. This is something for everyone to keep in mind throughout your experience in Ethics Bowl matches. So Ethics Bowl etiquette is foundational to the whole idea of the Intercollegiate Ethics Bowl as it was originally created by Bob Ladenson, the founder. It's important that everyone always keep in mind that the Ethics Bowl is an educational experience. And coaches, I'd encourage you to keep this in mind in terms of not just during the match, but everything that happens before the competition. So the quote here is that the idea is that the development of ethical understanding in connection with complex, ambiguous, and difficult to resolve issues is one of the goals of the Ethics Bowl. And the other is the fostering of key virtues associated with democratic deliberation. I think often it's tempting to forget about that second one, but we're trying to instill in the competitors in the Ethics Bowl certain values where they learn to think carefully about things and to become thoughtful people, not just for the purposes of a competition. These purposes should shape all your actions in association with the Ethics Bowl. It should frame the way you engage in the discussion. All behavior throughout your experience should demonstrate respect towards all participants. So now I want to focus a little bit on each role here. Students, although the competition may be intense, you should always treat the team with courtesy. Of course, it's inappropriate to do things like whisper loudly during the other team's presentation or to use rhetorical ploys designed to belittle the other team, etc. While you might disagree with scores that judges design, keep in mind that judging complex arguments, drawing on diverse facts and theories in real time, is demanding. You should think of it as part of your task to communicate your reasoning effectively to judges with ethical expertise from a wide range of issues. And in general, a common theme I'd like to stress here is you want to try your best to give people the benefit of the doubt. So students, if you think a judge was unfair to you, you may think it's because of how you dressed or how loud you talked, but it might be that they actually carefully listened to what you had to say and thought there were some flaws in it. It's sometimes fine to wind up in a discussion later with the judge about asking for helpful advice about how you can improve. We want to discourage teams and judges from getting into back and forth where they're arguing about a score that a team received. Now I want to talk about coaches. In some ways, I think perhaps the most under-talked about role in the Ethics Bowl are coaches. We talk about judges a lot. We talk about moderators training. We talk about student participants. But coaches, you are the role model for your team. The team will follow your example. So we encourage you to take this opportunity to help your students in their moral development. You know, when you take a tough loss, it's of course the case that you're going to feel bad for the sake of your team. But the way you respond to that towards your team, towards judges, is really important and sends a very particular message to your student participants. So please keep this in mind throughout your experience. If you have concerns about cases or judging or anything, the best environment to do that is to pass them on in a private setting so that they can be dealt with. Judges, we've talked about this a little bit already, but the students have worked hard to gain an understanding of the case. So please read the cases with serious attention. Make sure you yourself have a sound understanding of it. There's nothing more disappointing to a team than feeling like a judge hadn't really thought at all about the issue and didn't even really understand the case, and that becomes sort of evident through the conversation. You shouldn't be asked by anybody to justify the various scores you write down, but it might be a good thought experiment to imagine that you would be asked to do so. So you want to be able to say exactly, well, yeah, I scored you low because I really didn't think you did a good job with the consideration of alternative viewpoints. But otherwise, I thought you did great, etc. Moderators, you're uniquely situated to help foster this respectful and thoughtful environment. You want to enforce rules. You want to, of course, be on the ball and attentive. Moderators can do some damage to a round if they forget to do their basic functions. And it's actually important to realize that sometimes the conversation is really engaging, and so you might just be really attentive to what you're hearing, but your job as a moderator is to do basic things like keep track of time, keep everybody on the same page, etc. So finally, just a quick word here about etiquette in the virtual environment. In a virtual environment, one of the rules says, students shouldn't be penalized for what they're wearing, etc. But you're on camera, and so you should be aware of your surrounding. If you wish to, for privacy reasons, set up a virtual background, if you're able to do so in the platform that you're using, you could do so. That shouldn't be a distracting type of background. But please be aware of what's behind you. To some degree, you might want to be conscious of your presentation on camera as well. I hope this goes without saying, but we should never, ever, ever see that a student is participating in a virtual competition while driving. The same note about being aware of your surroundings actually also applies to judges and moderators. It's just something to keep in mind throughout this unique time. So thanks very much, everybody. What we're going to do next is have some videos that actually take the experience of an actual virtual match and talk through how you might score the various components of the match. And again, we'll do those in a series. So we'll do one video that looks at team's presentation, and then the commentary, response to the commentary, judge Q&A, etc. The other thing I want to make sure that you know about is that there are fillable score sheets, and these will be available on the API website and will be sent to the various regions. And so judges, you'll be able to fill out your score sheets right on the computer, and then most regions in all likelihood will have a protocol in place where you'll send those in after the match so that your scoring can be checked after the fact. Thanks again, everyone, and look forward to talking to you again as we watch the match together.